out to farmers that's around us, rents it out, I suppose that's what you call it. And they keep it up and keep the upkeep. The house is there still. There's heat in the house and running water in the house and all that now. It was a new home. Then that my father had built over the years. Then they had moved out of the older home and had built a newer home. So that's in pretty good condition. There's heat there all year round.
So you could go back and
you could go back and make it your home bases. Yeah, you could. Nobody lives there. Nobody has lived there. My brother owned it.
Yeah.
He died about 19 years ago, and he willed it to my brothers in New York, which will probably never go home to live there. But so he rents the farm out, and the house is vacant for any of us that want to go.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
We didn't. We did. You did name them off, but we didn't go through as to where all your family as went. We know Maureen is here.
Maureen is here. Yes. I have a sister who lives in England. I have a brother living in New York. I have two brothers here who lives in Bridgeport.
Oh, really?
Yeah, two brothers live in Bridgeport. They both retired from the town of Fairfield.
Oh,
yeah, they work for the town. Yeah, for maybe 30 years each or longer.
Yeah.
So they live in Bridgeport. And my sister in Carrick-on-Shannon, of course.
You got sister back in Canada.
Yeah, so I had 3 sisters, and there was 5 brothers and myself, 6 of us, 9 in the family.
When you go back to Leitrim and you go to Carrick-on-Shannon and
The surrounding areas.
Yeah, it's changed a lot, hasn't it?
Oh, it has changed from the time I left there, yeah.
Talk a bit about that.
Well, an awful lot of American factories have moved in there, an awful lot of houses being built, people moving in. You know, like I was there last year now, all these people from Poland and from Czechoslovakia and from Nigeria, an awful lot have moved in. And they're all working in good jobs, like good paying jobs, because there's a lot of American factories there, you know.
Do you see the culture change in there?
Oh, terrible, yeah. Oh, God, yes. It's multicolored right now, Ireland is, yeah. And down the country where I come from, that was never the case. Now it is. There's multicolours everywhere.
Yeah. Do you see yourself ever going back to live there?
Never, no. I would never want to live in Ireland, no. It's nice to go to visit, but I would never want to live there, no. I'm too used to it here, too long here. Yeah. I became an American citizen when I was only 5 years here.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Your mind made up.
I had my mind made up back then that was it, yeah.
Yeah. Going back on your life, and I know you said that you wouldn't change it, but do you think that going to England helped you?
To me, it was, yeah, because at that time when I finished school, there was nothing for me, only working on the farm, and I hated the farm. No, I couldn't wait to get out of there. Yeah. I used to be looking at it. I'd be down the fields in the summertime and I'd see the planes going overhead with that exhaust, and I said, please come back and take me wherever you're going. Couldn't wait to get out of there. Yeah, and I would never go back there to live now.
Well, your brother stayed on and was a farmer.
He stayed on with the farmer. He never got married, and he died of cancer at the age of 50. Some odd years, yeah, he was 50. My mother died of cancer too at the age of 54, yeah. But he got the farm, he never got married, and he lived there, and then his health didn't work out for him. Yeah. And then he willed it to my brother in New York, who has it, and he has 2 children, but they wouldn't be going back there.
And of course, the ironic part about it is that it is worth a ton of money today.
Today it's worth a ton of money. I guess back then it wasn't worth that much money, but today it's worth a lot of money.
Land anywhere in Ireland.
It is, yeah, very expensive. An awful lot of houses going up in the areas around there.
And building more.
Yeah, like I go home now and my surrounding area, the village is like Drummond or Ruski, there's hundreds of houses, all brand new houses. People selling their farms, and they're nothing but like housing estates going up there.
You know, back in the days when you were growing up in Ireland, people didn't have much.
No.
At Christmas time, but everybody did.
You had as much as I had, and they had. Everybody was equal, really.
Everybody was pretty happy with their lot.
Yeah.
Much, you know.
All they did was sell the cattle to try to and raise cattle to try to make ends meet. There was no other way.
How did religion play in your family? What was it a big part of the?
Big time. It was big part of our lives. Yeah, church was big part of the very very big part. Not, but we intermingled at school with non-Catholics too, as well, Protestant kids. Because there was a lot of them around. There was a lot of Protestants around. They were very well to do, really. Much more to do than the Catholics, really.
Well, they probably came from families that had been.
They did.
There
That had.
for years,
Yeah, they had. It was all. It was all money, really. But everybody got along great, and everybody went to dances together and went to school together, and funerals and everything. You know, that type of thing. They all mixed in. There was no problem with.
Speaking of funerals, do you remember any funerals in Ireland when you were young?
Yeah, sure.
How they were, what the customs were.
Oh, the customs was they were waked in the house. When you died, there was no funeral parlour.
Right.
Yeah. I always remember one, Noel, it was a funny thing. You know, this wake was going on in the house, and we all went to it. It was a neighbour that died. So during about maybe 2 o'clock at night or something, one of the people at the fireplace, he fell asleep. Yeah. And somebody put me up to get some pepper and put it on the blade of a knife and go over and put it under his nose. And when he snored, he took the whole thing off. He wasn't on waking up. Oh my God! That's one thing I always remember about it. That funeral.
Well, that was a custom at the time that when the wake was going on in the house, you sat up. Somebody
all night long. The neighbours would sit all night until 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, and then they would all leave. Yeah. You know.
The family starting it up. So
right.
The idea was that the deceased would not be allowed.
I guess that was the idea. I never really knew what the idea was, but I guess that was what it was.
The vigil with the deceased.
But nobody. There was no funeral parlours or nothing like that. No. And then the next day, the undertaker came with the casket or the coffin, as they said, and put the remains in it and took it to the church, and it stayed overnight in the church, and then service the next morning and burial. That you know. That was about
it was. It sounded strange, but it still takes place the same way today in most places.
I don't know. There
are funeral homes in Ireland.
There are funeral homes in Ireland. I know down in Kerry now, where my wife comes from, they have in the village in there. There's like 2 of them.
But usually the funeral homes are only open for a couple of hours, and then they move the casket to the church.
I think so. Yeah, that's about it. It's not like they do it here now. So nothing is actually like what they do it in this country.
Was there electricity in the area when you were?
Just about after I left for England. Not when I left, it wasn't.
Not when you were
no, as I was working in England, then the electricity, the ESB or whatever they call it, came around and put the lines in. Yeah, but not while I was there. No. Of course, when I'd be back on vacation, we had it. Yeah, you know. But,
growing up, just talk about what was when you were a kid. The most food there was, like what we Sunday dinner.
God, yeah, potatoes anyway. I know, and bacon. My father lots of bacon. My father would kill about 2 pigs a year.
Really? Yeah.
And that went to it. Porridge. He would grow the oats or the wheat, and that went to the mills, and that was for your porridge for the morning. Potatoes, of course, turnip, you know, vegetables, because he grew all his own stuff. I mean, we weren't in short of food, that's for sure, because he grew up. He grew everything. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Did you have, for instance, orchards around?
Yes, apples. Yeah, a lot of apples. Yeah. My mother would make the apple strudels and apple pies and all that kind of thing. Yeah.
And of course, that was Halloween.
That was Halloween. You dug for the apples. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But it was open heart fire. Like everything was, you cooked everything on the turf. Yeah, turf fire.
Well, that was probably good turf country around.
It was great turf country. A lot of bog. A lot of bog.
How do you guys involved in cutting the turf?
Cutting the turf, my father would get a whole bunch of men, you know, for maybe a couple of days, and they'd all help each other out, and then he would go on to them, and the kids then, as we grew up, we would be piling the turf up high and drying them out and turning it over, and whatever bit of sun was, you know, to dry it. Bringing it home then was a big thing. Bringing the hay home was another big thing. The trasher coming around to trash. Do you remember that? The oats trasher?
But one thing is in my memory when I was asking you about the bog and the turf.
Yeah.
is the hunger that you could get in a bog.
Oh my God,
It seemed
yes.
to be more than
Yeah.
anything. It seemed to be
They
the
did,
best
yeah.
appetite in the world.
And then they would come to the bog with the tea at 3 o'clock. Do you remember that? And the basket and the.
And hard-boiled eggs if you were lucky.
Oh my Lord! I think everybody did that. It
Yeah.
seemed like.
And it seemed that the bog was always, it was in the mountain area,
It was.
isolated.
It was,
so you
yeah.
could see your mother or somebody
Coming
from
in the
miles
distance.
away.
Yeah. I always remember too when the dinner would be ready or something. You were down the bog. She had a whistle. She used to blow the whistle,
yeah.
so you would hear the whistle going. Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. It was a good living, I guess. If you didn't know any different, it was fine. You know,
Well,
it was. I guess
and you
it
look
was a
back,
tough living.
You look at tough.
Tough living, yeah.
But
It
when
was
you look
hardship.
back on that food that we just talked about,
Oh yeah.
the growing, all of it home grown.
Yeah, turnip and everything.
Healthy.
Oh, it was, of course.
And
Very healthy.
Remember the greens, the cabbage that you get.
The big heads of cabbage, yeah. Oh my God,
awesome.
yeah. But he used to grow it, my dad, yeah, he grew all his own turnips, cabbage, and parsnips, and all kinds of things, you know. We weren't short of food, like as regards that.
And I think that's true for all of the country
Yeah,
folk that had
it
farms.
is. Clothes, though, you got maybe a suit of clothes, maybe every 3 or 4 years, I guess. Like, for different functions that you'd be doing, confirmation, communion or stuff, and that had to last you for years, of
Fashion
course.
was not a big...
Fashion or clothes was not a big thing, no.
Of course, when you got to be about 17 or 18,
Well, yeah.
dance, between...
Oh, yeah. But all in all, it was as a child, we had a good lifetime there, but
Sure.
you didn't know any different, so it was fine,
Ghost stories.
Oh, Jesus, yes. The neighbours would come in at night and talk about the ghost stories and all of that kind of thing around the turf fire at night, yeah. They used to, there would, 5 or 6 guys would come in there at night to visit. We'd call it Cayley, and they're coming Cayley. And it was good.
And you'd always be afraid to go outside.
Oh, at night after that, yeah. Especially if you were a kid and listening to it, yeah. It was, yeah.
What about music sessions around that end of the country?
Yeah, there was always like feshes and stuff like that. There was, yeah. Dancing, always dancing on the crossroads, and the music was going. Accordion playing. There was always some great accordion players, back there. Or the fife, flute or whatever they used to play. Oh my God, and the bagpipes, you'd hear them all over the place, yeah. But then we would have dances on the crossroads as well. Before the dance halls, really, when I was really smaller, before the big dance halls came into swing.
During the summertime.
During the summertime, that's where they'd be doing, on the roads, crossroads, everybody would meet there.
There was also the old country house dance. Was there much of that in your end of the country?
Not that much, no, there wasn't really. Not much of that, no.
What part of the year when you were growing up, what was your favourite part of the time of the year?
I don't know. Summer, of course, is the best time of the year there, I always thought. Yeah. Weather-wise too. Birthdays came and went, and you never knew that it was even your birthday at that time. It came and go. There was no big thing about a birthday or stuff like that. The only thing was if your religion, your confirmation, your communion, baptism, they were the things that they mostly concentrated. But as regards birthdays, they came and went, and nobody ever even mentioned them,
We'll come back to America and back to you were working here and you met your wife. And where were you married?
I married on Stratfield Road in the Assumption Church on Stratfield Road.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right
Right here
here.
down the road from here, yeah.
And I know
we're running short
of
time.
We've got to let you go. You are now the permittee here.
Permittee, yeah. Well, I actually was the permittee years ago. I took over from Peg O'Leary.
Okay.
Peg was the permittee down at the Old Club on the Post Road. And I guess she was giving it up back then, and I applied for it and got it, and she sort of trained me into what was going on, which she did, yeah. Okay. A lot of good advice and a lot of good things, which I appreciated. Held that for quite a number of years as a part-time job, left, and came back a couple of times, and now I'm back again. I don't know how long I'll stay with them this time. I'm stay for a while, and now that I'm retired from my own job, I have more time to put into it. So.
When did you retire from?
Actually, I'm almost retired 10 years.
Are you?
Yes, I am, yes. Oh, God, yes. Yeah. the
Well,
years.
anyway, we thank you for being our guest today.
Okay,
Pete Doonan
appreciate
from
it.
Barnacool,
County
County
Leitrim.
Leitrim,
Yes,
from the
there you
banks
go.
of the
From
Shannon River.
the Shannon River. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you,
And
Noel. It was
thank
a
you, Pete.
pleasure, and you know, thanks again. Okay, I guess we're closed.